Previously on the channel, I talked about how the Malaysian passport is the only passport in the world that can bring its citizens to North Korea without a visa. At least it used to be able to do that. And many people ask why. Why did Malaysia have such a close relationship with North Korea? And are there any other countries that are intimate with North Korea? Upon further digging, I found a rabbit hole so deep that you can put Nikocado avocado in. So in today's video, I'm gonna share with you what I found on why there are still 7 countries in the world that welcome North Koreans visa-free. Contrary to the common belief, North Korean passport still provides access to a handful of countries and territories. Keep in mind though, we're talking about using a North Korean passport to travel abroad, a luxury only the elites get to have. Also, the visa facilitations offered in these countries aren't gonna mean much if you're trying to escape North Korea, since ordinary North Korean citizens can't even get a passport or the permission to leave. Now, let's pretend you are lucky enough to be one of the North Korean oligarchs. Then yeah, you can travel to 7 countries on your North Korean passport without a visa. Dominica, Gambia, Guyana, Haiti, Kyrgyzstan, Micronesia, and St. Vincent. Out of the 7, 5 of them don't even have diplomatic ties to North Korea, so the visa-free treatment is more like negligence. These countries are extremely small and don't bother to update their visa policies, probably because they have never seen a North Korean traveler anyway. Guyana and Kyrgyzstan though, they stand out because they are actually friendly with Pyongyang. Guyana established diplomatic ties with North Korea in 1974. In the late 1970s, North Korea even provided economic and military aid to Guyana. I wonder where they got the money from. Kyrgyzstan, on the other hand, inherited the relations from the Soviet era. Currently, visitors from North Korea, as well as from Cuba, Laos, and Vietnam, can visit Kyrgyzstan without a visa because of bilateral agreements signed by the USSR. But none of these countries even has an embassy in Kyrgyzstan. So the reason why Kyrgyzstan keeps the door open for North Koreans might just be because they didn't bother to change the law either. There are, however, about 16,000 ethnic Koreans living in Kyrgyzstan. These are mainly the Korean migrant workers who moved to Central Asia in the 19th century. But I don't suppose they are the reason for the visa-free policy because they only make up 0.3% of Kyrgyzstan's population. In addition to these 7 countries, Cuba also kind of offer visa-free treatment to North Korean passport holders on the condition that they must obtain a tourist card, which basically acts as a visa. And let's not forget, North Korean passport holders could go to Singapore and Malaysia without visas before 2016 and 17 respectively. Both countries established diplomatic relations with DPRK in the 1970s, when all 3 countries joined the Non-Aligned Movement, which was a framework for developing nations to cooperate outside the United States or the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Against this backdrop, both Singapore and Malaysia saw relationships with North Korea as a balancing act in their foreign affairs strategies. And North Korea saw value in Malaysia's natural resources such as rubber and palm oil, and the transport hub offered by Singapore. As a part of the package deal, Malaysia and Singapore allowed visa-free entry of DPRK citizens. For them, the benefit of letting in a dozen DPRK nationals per year far outweighs the disadvantages. While Singapore suspended its visa-free entry policy for North Korean passport holders in 2016, possibly because they don't want to violate UN sanctions, Malaysia didn't do the same until 2017. Using the relationship, Malaysia has always been the host country for talks between Washington and Pyongyang. The Malay government gained invaluable diplomatic leverage by successfully hosting such meetings.
US and North Korean delegates are meeting in Kuala Lumpur for a fresh round of negotiations on Pyongyang's nuclear program.
But in 2017, everything changed when Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, was assassinated in the Kuala Lumpur International Airport while boarding a flight to Macau.
3 North Koreans have taken refuge inside the embassy. They're wanted in connection with the death of a man at Kuala Lumpur Airport. He's believed to be Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korea's leader.
Malaysia and North Korea used to enjoy warm ties, with each granting the other visa-free travel for their citizens. But in just over 3 weeks, relations have sunk to a new low.
The incident enraged the Malaysian government enormously because no country in the world will allow foreign agents to commit extrajudicial murder on its sovereign land, not without prior notice anyway. Understandably, Malaysia severed all diplomatic ties with North Korea and suspended visa-free travel for both ways. 1 year later though, the entire world turned to Singapore for the 2018 DPRK and USA summit between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. It was the first ever meeting between the leaders of North Korea and the United States. It's apparent that Singapore has replaced Malaysia and become the new mediator between the Kim family and the West.
Heightened security and road closures were clearly evident as Singapore hosted the Trump-Kim summit. But was it worth it? That question ran through the minds of many Singaporeans as Prime Minister Lee said 20 million Singapore dollars would be spent on the event. The public got their answer as agencies reported that Singapore could reap anywhere from 150 to 750 million Singapore dollars in media exposure and economic gains.
And finally, we have Macau. As mentioned earlier, Kim Jong-nam was assassinated in Malaysia just before traveling back to his residence in Macau, which begs the question, why was he living in Macau? Well, it turns out that Macau has always been a major overseas depot for North Korea. As you probably know, given Pyongyang's unhinged nature, the United Nations has passed numerous resolutions in order to restrict North Korea's development of military technology. Man, the list is long. For Pyongyang, it's important to have an overseas stronghold that could act as a logistic hub in order to get away with the sanctions. Ideally, this place should be close to home while having a relatively high standard of living to suit their elite lifestyle. Mainland China is out of the question because the Chinese government doesn't want to bear the reputation of harboring North Korean oligarchs. However, the Chinese are happy to host their North Korean friends in their colonies. Special administrative regions, such as Hong Kong and Macau. The problem is that Hong Kong was a British colony and not a friendly place in general to North Korea. Even after the city was handed over to China, its visa policy still excluded North Koreans. Macau, on the other hand, is safe for DPRK. Like Hong Kong, it's at an arm's length from mainland China, which makes Beijing feel comfortable to have North Korean VIPs over. Because if anything, the decision could be blamed on the local Macanese government. Being a faraway colony of a weakening Portugal, Macau has fallen under de facto Chinese rule since the 1960s, after the communist riots. At the same time, Macau is famous for its luxurious casinos, shopping malls, and resorts. All of these, plus the visa on arrival treatment to North Korean passport holders, making Macau the perfect place for Pyongyang to set up operations. Case in point, in 1987, North Korean secret agent Kim Hyong-hui, together with an accomplice, boarded a Korean airplane in Baghdad, Iraq, bounded for Seoul, South Korea. They placed a suitcase bomb on the plane and killed 115 people. According to Kim, the attack was aimed at stopping the upcoming Olympic Games in Seoul. And guess where Kim was trained? That's right, Macau. The international community is fully aware that Pyongyang is using these visa-free destinations to circumvent sanctions and train their secret agents. In a UN panel of expert report, the locations of North Korean illicit activities were listed, and surprise surprise, there's significant overlap between the countries that offer visa-free access for North Koreans and countries where the illicit activities took place. Entities such as the Zhoukwan Trading Company in Macau have been found to be operated by North Korean agents to ship military equipment and illegal funds. In 2005, the US Treasury Department banned Banco Delta Asia, a local bank in Macau, from using the US dollar, out of concerns that the bank might be involved in money laundering for North Korea. This might also be part of the reason why Malaysia reacted so dramatically to the assassination of Kim Jong-nam. In early 2017, it was reported that a company called Glocom in Malaysia was actually operated by North Korean agents to smuggle contraband military radio equipment. And Kuala Lumpur knew that if this kept going on, someday they might face sanctions similar to Macau's, and the assassination provided a perfect excuse for Malaysia to sever all ties to North Korea. Where would you go if you only have 7 countries to travel to? Did I miss anything? My next video will be about a passport from one of the places I mentioned in this video. Put your guess in the comment section, and come back next week to check if you're right.